In this video, I'll be introducing you to billing within Methasoft. I will be showing you three important screens: payer rate groups, billable services, as well as billing episodes. The payer rate group screen is used to create groups to which patients will be assigned for billing. This applies to both self-pay patients as well as third-party. This screen is the starting point for setting up how a facility's patients will be charged for rendered billable services in Methasoft. First, we need to know who is responsible for the bill. Is it self-pay or an advanced third party such as Medicaid? You will need to enter the name of the payer and then enter an abbreviation such as SP for self-pay. If you're using third-party billing, you'll need to also enter a payer ID and then enter the payer's address. Once complete, you will then need to choose self-pay or advanced third-party billing from the drop-down. The Billable Services screen will be used to configure each service rendered by the facility. This screen works in conjunction with payer rate groups and billing episodes to determine how much patients will be charged for the different services at your facility. You will want to label the service name so that users can easily tell which service they are billing for. You may want to include the payer rate group name and type of service to make it easier to distinguish between them. You will then need to enter the payer rate group name from your list of payers. For the billable service, you will want to enter the type of service that applies. Methasoft can handle absent charges, counseling, dosing, drug screens, emergency dosing, scheduled events, and unmanaged, which is typically used for weekly and monthly charges. Next, you will enter the appropriate service type from the list of options you see in Methasoft. If you do not see it there, you may need to add it. The most common example is having to add a new case note template or a new scheduled event. These items must be marked as billable on the template and scheduler preference screen in order to appear in the drop-down menu. For any new case note template entered, be sure to set security correctly to allow users to enter notes for the new case note type that you created. For the service line policy, make sure you enter the appropriate one from the list of options. Methasoft can handle per charge, per transaction, summary, and summary break on absent. Per transaction takes all the charges and gives them one individual line on the charge manager screen. The charges are seen as individual and not based on actual date of service. The summary option takes all of the charges for a patient and puts them into one charge. The difference between summary and per charge is being able to view all charges for a date range in one line on the charge manager. For instance, if a patient is weekly and service is set to summary, you can take the charge manager and run it for the month and see all 30 charges in one line, instead of a line for each week with the 7 charges in it. Summary break on absent is the same as summary, with the exception that should a patient be absent, it will then break up the charges accordingly. The rendering provider field will only be enabled should you choose specific provider in the rendering provider type dropdown. Typically, it is used to bill to the site's NPI no matter what user provides the service. However, you can use it to bill all of the services rendered under one user's NPI. For your diagnosis code, make sure you enter the correct ICD-10 code that applies. You will need to verify this with your payer, though F1120 is typically what applies. For your procedure modifier, please verify with your payer to ensure you're entering the correct modifier and/or that the modifier does not change based on the patient's phase level. Next, be sure to enter the correct procedure code. Please verify with your payer again to ensure you're entering the correct one. The service facility will typically be your site, but feel free to confirm this with your payer as well. If the payer is responsible for this charge, put the amount in the payer rate box. Otherwise, you will put the charge amount in the patient rate section. The charge option field will be enabled when you choose the unmanaged option under billable service. You will choose between per dose, per week, per month, semi-monthly, 4 times a month, or per day. The charge day field will be enabled if you choose the weekly or monthly charges under charge option. Enter the day of the week or the day of the month that the patient needs to be charged on. For the effective on field, enter the date that you want to start billing for this particular service. If you are planning on back billing, you can choose a date in the past. For the effective to field, you will choose a date that you want to stop billing for this particular service. If you don't know when the payer will discontinue paying for that service, you can leave the field blank. In order for a patient to be charged, they will need to have a current billing episode entered into Methasoft. This means it has current dates or an open-ended expiration date. First, we need to find out what payer the patient is on. Are they self-pay or are they third-party? Next, you will want to enter the start date for when they started with this payer. You can then leave the expiration date open-ended until they switch to a different one. If the patient is on self-pay, you can then save the information that you've entered. If the patient is on a third-party payer, Methasoft will require more information to be entered. If you try to save it, the fields will be highlighted in red. The 3 third-party required fields are sign release of information, in which most cases it would be set to yes, subscriber ID code type, which should normally be set to MI for member ID, and benefits assigned to indicator. In most cases, this should also be set to yes. When you are editing or changing a patient's billing episode, you will want to end it and start a new one. Deleting and/or backdating an episode will cause the system to undo all previous charges for that date range. Additionally, it will affect the patient balance. To not cause these issues, you will want to highlight the old episode and edit it, and then add an expiration date. Then you will click on New and enter the patient's new billing episode. Typically, the only time you would ever delete an episode would be if the patient was brand new and had no charges on their balance journal. Once the patient has charges, you will want to end the episode and start a new one. Now let's take a look at billable service overrides. When you want to charge a patient something different than what the billable service is set up for, you will choose this screen. You can change the amount a patient pays, day of the week they are charged, or even the amount the payer pays. Keep in mind, as with billing episodes, changes made to this screen can undo previous charges already in Methasoft. I would recommend ending the previous billing episode and then creating a new one to override. To change patient's charges, you will click on New, choose the billing episode you will want to override, and then choose the service to override. You can also choose the day of the week that you want to charge. You can also change different patients and payer amounts. Once you have filled out all of these fields, you will click Save. This concludes our introduction to Methasoft billing. We will have more videos for advanced billing functionality in the future. If you have any questions or concerns, you can reach us at our support line at 877-538-5767. Thank you and have a great day.